Welcome back, Libromaniacs. Today we're going to be talking about cryptozoology, specifically pterosaurs in Texas. I saw this YouTube video. Sometimes YouTube gets my personal taste right and recommends to me good videos, and other times I can watch one thing and all of a sudden my entire feed, all my scroll is filled with nonsense. But this time it was showing me some cryptozoology and specifically pterosaurs in Texas. And that rung a bell. All of a sudden like a synapse fired in the back of my head, and I was like, wait, that's like one of the best cases for cryptozoology of all time. And so some people recently have been seeing what they think are pterodactyls. Pterosaurs is the technical term of what the sightings look like. And so, yeah, there's been some recent sightings, sometimes at night, sometimes while driving, sometimes both. And yeah, I was like, wait a second. Like, so I searched through my cryptozoology books. I was like, okay, I broke out On the Track of Unknown Animals. I pulled up my Things and More Things by Ivan T. Sanderson. And then it turned out to be in two books by the same author. One's basically an expanded version of the other. I had read that originally in Search of Prehistoric Survivors, and it is also in the updated edition, Still in Search of Prehistoric Survivors, which I haven't read cover to cover yet. But yeah, it's like one of the best cases of pterodactyl sightings, because so people are seeing these huge flying things, sometimes usually with long beaks, and sometimes with hooked beaks, but sometimes some people have described them as beakless with bat-like faces. So maybe there's a couple species going on, but they're happening in Texas and also nearby in Arizona and also nearby in Mexico. There is some sightings in California. There's some sightings in South America. Certainly a bird of that a pterosaur of that size would be able to make those. I mean, a regular bird could make those journeys easily, but certainly a pterosaur could too. So yeah, people are the Texas thing though, like so what's unique about this is back in the 70s they discovered I believe the largest and most recent pterosaur skeleton ever in Big Bend National Park in Texas. This pterosaur is called Quetzalcoatl, and that brings us to so it's believed to have gone extinct between 68 and 66 million years ago. Well, that's the same original estimate for the extinction of the coelacanth fish, the lobe-finned fish that turned out to be alive and well. So it's the latest pterosaur in the fossil record. It's been around up until the late Cretaceous. So here you are having sightings of pterosaurs, and lo and behold, you have the skeleton of a pterosaur that's in that same region where these sightings are happening today. And to top that off, they named it Quetzalcoatl. Well, that's after the Aztec god, the plumed serpent Quetzalcoatl, this flying serpent. So it was known to the Mayans as a Kuku. It also was known to the Mayans. I should probably just spell it and try to say it. Kukulcan, Kukulcan, I believe is the spelling. Kukulcan. Oh my God. Kukulcan. I'm gonna go with that. But Quetzalcoatl, I can say, at least, maybe not right, but I'm gonna be able to say it. So that's all fascinating. Like, what are the odds that these people are talking about this plumed serpent, this flying snake, this flying dragon down in Mexico, up in Texas, right next door, there's sightings of these pterosaurs, both back to the 70s, 80s, and then recently, and then also in the 2007 time frame. There was another sighting. Some people have been attacked by these things. Some people, I think one person was almost lifted up. Obviously, I mean, you wouldn't try to feed it, or you should try to get away from it if you see it, obviously. But yeah, somebody's been attacked. Somebody was almost lifted up, and they're going after farm animals and stuff. It's crazy because like that's the perfect epitome of cryptozoology. It's like the fossil record has something that we know is there. People are still seeing it in that region. It's within the range of known living fossils to survive in small numbers. And now you would think, well, how could we miss something like that? Well, if it's nocturnal, good luck. If it's in the right area, people don't realize this. People have no problem believing that there's unknown large species yet to be discovered in the ocean. Nobody has an issue with that. Of course there are. The ocean's like, hard for people to dive down to with any real, you can't go down any real depth without having to be encased in, like, how far you can dive in a suit. It's just, it's dark, it's cold, it's oppressively, like there's so much pressure, like as everyone knows from the Titan submersible disaster. So no one has an issue with that. But what people don't realize is there's land areas that are just as forbidding. Now, maybe with new technology, we could start going in with fleets of drones and start finding some new species. But there are areas where I remember reading in, I think it was Ivan T. Sanderson, he was talking about some of these mountainous regions where Sasquatch has been sighted. And he's like, people don't realize how impenetrable these areas are. Like the survey crews, like you've probably seen survey crews on the side of the road with their little tripods, and they're lining up their sites with they're making like those are survey teams, and they have to do the height of the land, and then the coordinates of the land, so latitude and longitude. So these guys, there's all these survey pages in eastern, in the western areas of the United States, like up in Oregon and Washington, where even survey crews couldn't go. There's all these blank pages in the official books where they're supposed to write where they've surveyed this land, and they're like, we can't get in there. Nobody can get in there. They were. I remember one description of these people saying like there's these boulder-sized rocks on the side of steep mountains in forests, and it takes them like all day to travel 300 yards. It's like, good luck. There's so many areas like that on the planet, or they're just cold, oppressive environments. Like one of the best sightings, the Yeti, one of the guys climbing the Himalayas, or Mount Everest. One of the guys who did that, I think his last name was Shipton. He was the one that took that famous photograph next to an ice pick. And they're like, who's up here with us? Like, we're like one of the first people to be climbing up Everest, and we're coming up with some Sherpas, and here's these footprints of this, sightings. There were sightings of this, and the Sherpas knew who it was. The Sherpas are the guides, the indigenous people that guide the people up the mountain. So there's places that are just so harsh that like the best explanation for the Yeti is Neanderthals have survived in small populations in very remote areas, and hard to get, not just remote or cold, just like really inhospitable areas. Well, there's forests like that. There's plenty of forests that I think these pterosaur sightings, I didn't realize there'd been any since like the 80s. I didn't realize there'd been more recent sightings, and there was modern sightings, and back in 2007, like I haven't heard anything about this back in since the 80s, since the 80s. So that's fascinating. Like I am told people don't understand how many things the panda used to be a myth. It took them like 50 years to bring back a panda, a single panda bear. Now they're at zoos everywhere now, but originally, it was sheer luck that there were so many failed expeditions to find the panda. There was like two failed expeditions of all these seasoned trackers and hunters that were going to go find it, and of course, hey. Hey! 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 Stop it. So, sorry about that. What was I saying? Yeah, I it would be so, we're, yeah, the panda. So that was originally a mythical creature, and then when they finally brought a dead one back, because it went crazy on the way here, they finally caught one. They were bringing it back, and then they had to like literally kill it on the way back. And but then once it was brought back, it was declared extinct because no one could find one since then. And it took them like another 30 or 40 years before they found some populations of these. So that it's totally plausible that there's areas that we don't know big things are, especially if they're nocturnal. Although the panda wasn't. I mean, the panda should have been easily found. It was in an area the size of Arizona, which isn't necessarily small, but it's in a limited region. It's highly distinct markings, black and white markings. It's a slow-moving creature. It's dim-witted. And it's diurnal. It's out during the day, so it's easy to see. If you had a sly, nocturnal, intelligent, predatory creature, good luck finding it. Like here's some dim-witted bozo bear running. It's not even a bear; it's like a raccoon, sitting around, lazing about, eating bamboo. Should be the easiest thing in the world to find. It took him, swear to God, 50 years to find it, and up until that time, it was a myth. It was just a silly folk tale. Why would a bear be in the mountains eating bamboo? No one believed the locals. Well, technically it was a raccoon. That's why it wasn't carnivorous. But that's kind of why they ruled it out. Like they're like, wait, all bears are carnivorous. These people are stupid if they think there's a bear that, well, sure looks like a bear. Like you can see why they thought it was a bear. But yeah, it turns out it's like a raccoon. But so things like that happen all the time, or have happened all the time, and can still be happening now. We're really limited in the air. Like we keep encroaching into nature, but we're going to find things in the Amazon. We're going to find things. And whenever you're in a situation where the native people are all unanimously telling you, oh, yeah, this creature exists. No, it's not some boogeyman, made up superstition fairy tale. It's a real thing. All the Western scientists poo-poo it. And they're like, no. It's a myth. It's a myth. It's a myth. And it's like the bias against cryptozoology is insane. But yeah, this one is like a slam dunk case, right? You don't just have the sightings. You have the bones of one of the biggest pterosaurs. Like the estimates of the wingspan, by the way, are like 33 to 35 feet or something like that. But the maximum estimates, like that's the average estimate. This thing is huge. It's it might be like 50 feet wingspan. There's people that I think that have estimated like 55 feet wingspan. So it's you got the bones there. They're recent bones. I mean, relatively speaking, they're within living fossil time. Like small populations like coelacanths might still be pockets of these things could survive. And then you got the myths. You got the people saying, oh yeah, there's this flying plumed serpent that we worship, the Quetzalcoatl. Like that's all slam dunk, people. Anyways, that's all I got for pterosaurs in Texas. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.